whatever is the number. Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today. On behalf of NIT University, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all the students and some of their parents who've joined us for the session. Before we start, I'd like to request all of you to please keep your microphones on mute and any other gadgets around you on mute as well, so that we have clarity. I'm requesting all of you to put in your questions on the chat window on the right side. We've consolidated the questions that have come in till now. I'll be taking them during the session. And this session today is going to be on integrated MBA degree at NIT University. And all your queries will be solved by our experts who are today with us in the session. We have professors from the management department, and we also have some of our students. And we have a very special guest today with us. The special guest with us today is Dr. Prabhu Agarwal. Prabhu Agarwal has joined us as a senior professor and the incoming president at NIT University. He's completed his BTech from IIT Kanpur, followed by an MBA with Operations Management from University of Washington in 1988. He was conferred a PhD degree by the University of Washington. He started his academic career at the Foster School of Business, University of Washington, where he was a teaching faculty and has been in various roles across the industry spanning many years. Professor Agarwal joins us from next month, and since 2018, he's consulted for various institutions in the higher education area. He rejoined academics as the founding vice chancellor of O.P. Jindal University, and his last assignment was the academic advisor for setting up of the National Rail and Transportation Institution in Vadodara. Dr. Agarwal brings a rich mix of industry, academics, and multidisciplinary professional experience to NU. And we are very glad to have you with us here, sir. Welcome to the session today. I also have with me Professor Sushil Kalyani and Professor Shivendra Mathur, both representing the management department at NIT University, and also two of our existing students of Integrated MBA, Aditya and Monica. We'll be happy to take on questions that you may have for any of our speakers during the session. Additional questions can please be put on the chat window on your right side. Let me start by requesting Professor Agarwal. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the ethos of the university, sir, and what is the vision of NIT University?
Well, thank you, Manisha, for the introduction. And welcome to all the guests to this webcon. It is indeed a pleasure to be here. As Manisha has already pointed out, I take charge of this university starting on the 1st of July. So I wanted to join this webcon so that I can give you a perspective about what NU is all about, but more details I have some of my faculty colleagues who have joined. So very briefly, NU was set up in 2009, and it was set up as effort by the NIIT Foundation, which is a 40-plus-year-old organization, which has done remarkable work in the learning field. And the idea of setting up NIIT University was to focus on emerging areas of technology and management for the knowledge society and become a role model institution. So today, NU, after 10 years, offers undergraduate, postgraduate, and PhD programs in computer science, electronics and communications, biotechnologies, and management. And it does a lot of other programs which are very specific industry-linked programs. The campus is located in Neemrana, which is about 120 kilometers, so about an hour and a half drive from Delhi International Airport, on a 100-acre campus, which has been awarded the greenest campus in India. A rich collection of faculty, both from academia as well as from industry, participate in our teaching endeavors. I think one of the highlights of this university is that we have developed 690 industry partners. And I'll talk a little bit more about our core values, but they are instrumental in the entire pedagogical curriculum design. So they are our partners for placement, our partners for industry practice, our partners for industry linked programs, and also provide us with professors of practice. And so I think those are some of the main ideas. If I go a little deeper, we have 4 core principles. We leverage, number 1, our industry linkage. Number 2, we instill in a ways a idea that that all our teaching should be research driven. So we have tremendous opportunities for students to get involved into research. Of course, our core is technology based. And I think it will be very interesting for all of you to know that with the post-COVID-19 pandemic, we are going to now look at new paradigms of teaching and learning. And I will say without doubt that NIIT University or NU is probably the best position today to roll out, have a very robust technology platform which supports the teaching and learning and is student-centric and it's seamless. So you will experience it. And I'm pretty sure that a significant amount of teaching will happen online. And I think the last very important piece for us is something called seamlessness. It's without getting too much into detail, it's about developing the entire individual and through not just classroom teaching, but a rich blend of academics and co-curricular activities, a rich blend of developing the personality, developing the professional skills that are required today in the workplace, in the knowledge society, which is critical thinking, which is problem solving, which is data-based inquiry, which is communicating, which is language, which is a whole concept built around this concept of developing the whole individual. Also, how you care about the environment and how you care about sustainability, how do you protect natural resources, how does the person interact with the community, the environment, with each other. So the focus is much richer than it is in the classroom. It's a 24/7 residential campus. So we believe teaching occurs 24/7. So nothing shuts down on the campus. That is a very important piece of our learning and teaching methodology core principles. So without getting into too much detail, I welcome you to this discussion, to this interaction with our faculty and me. Thank you very much again for being part of this webcon.
Thank you, Professor Agarwal. May I request Kavil to kindly unmute Shivendra and Sushil, please? Okay, great. So my next question is to you, Dr. Shivendra. Now, we heard Professor Agarwal talk about the ethos of the university and how, we're also hearing about how the whole degree has evolved over the years. So how is academia coping up with these changes?
That's a nice question, Monisha, and good evening to all the participants here. See, in the 21st century, I would say that tremendous change is happening in all these spaces. To give you some examples of it, we know that how AI is bringing about a change. It's a new norm now. When it comes to strategy, when it comes to the marketing strategies, etc. So just to give you examples and specifically about different domains of management, let's begin with, say, for example, marketing. Now, as we know that in the year 21st century and the year specifically 2020, if you go by the latest reports, 1.6 billion users will be there on PDA or personal assistants, digital assistants, by the end of 2020. So what it will entail, what changes it will bring, that is a moot question. Now, all these social websites and social media have come up with a new product. Like, for example, Facebook. What is the title it says? It says, "What's up your mind?" Which means that there are algorithms, complex algorithms, which goes into the micro movements of the users. Now, what are micro movements? When we say micro movements, these are the new consumer behaviors. So, in those movements, how are you going to decide? So, when we say these micro movements, we mean to say, I want to know how these movements are. I want to experience these movements. I want to go to these movements. I want to do these movements. And finally, I want to purchase or buy these movements. So these are the new things which are coming. These are all threaded by one common single point, which is what we call data. So data and analytics. So when we say that the new oil, we have been hearing about it. So the new oil or the data analytics comes as a new area, emerging as a new field. What it means that we go to the each consumer's or customer's mind, determine what he or she thinks at what particular time of the day, when they take a buying decision, what time of the month, what are the buying patterns. And if you want to verify it, want to check it, you can see, like, if we are all these days during lockdown, particularly, we have been watching all these web series on Netflix, etc. So once you watch a particular series, the next time it shows up certain results automatically. You don't have to actually search. It it captures what you like doing, what you like watching, and then proposes something to you. So the new marketing, what we call 21st century marketing, is very different than what we used to have in 20th century, where we used to do marketing using all the traditional modes, for example, newspapers, etc. Now it is more of digital. How to customize, how to personalize, how to program advertising. So these are the new tools which are coming. A very latest tool is by Google. We call it Think with Google, a new tool which is coming. So 90% of all the population in the world is being mapped by these engines, be it Amazon Web Service, AWS, Alexa, or Google services. So this is the new trend which is coming. Now coming to how management education is coping. So all the prospective students, I have just one thing to say. Either you are part of the steamroller, this monster steamroller which is coming our way by the way of digital marketing or analytics, or you are part of the road. So unless you are ready to change, you will always be part of the road. So to align ourselves, what we did, we have come up with these specializations, what we call as uh, business analytics, marketing analytics, using the latest tools and techniques that are being used. Then digital and social media marketing, like Twitter marketing, how do you do it? Facebook marketing, WhatsApp marketing, and all these concepts. So the management education is also responding to these changes and almost at the same time. So one has to actually align himself, herself into these latest trends. If we go still by the traditional subjects, like what we used to, when I did MBA, we used to actually read Philip Kotler. But nowadays, it's not about only the 4 P's of marketing. It's much more than that. How to go into people's mind, how to read them, what they like, uh, personalization of these things, new consumer behaviors. These are the new things which are coming up. Monisha.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shivendra. That was a wonderful summation. I have a question for you, Professor Sushil, and that's come from a couple of questions that we took in advance. Now, a lot of our students who are prospecting the course want to know that what is it that they should expect from a degree in management? Could I request you to please answer that?
Yeah, thanks, Monisha. So obviously, the common question which every aspirant has before entering into a course would be like what he or she will get after he or she completes the management program. Well, I would say that mostly people focus on the job. So I don't say job is not important, but then at NU what we have been doing so far is not to make our students who actually graduate from NU to be job ready, but to be the career ready. And I would like to explain a bit about like what job ready and career ready would have a difference of. Uh, Obviously, people focus about the first job after the graduation degree, which maybe I can call it as a short-term planning. But when you come to that career, planning, it has to be like whatever you learn, you should learn in such a way that uh, not only in your first job it is going to be used, but you have to think of that you should be very much open towards whatever changes are going to happen in the industry per se. For example, like this COVID-19, nobody had expected this kind of a closure, the lockdown which happened across world, and every practice, even the on the consumer side, the practices which we used to follow earlier have changed drastically when we are not able to go out of our homes and we were thinking of doing everything. So everybody has evolved, and now obviously the business practices would also evolve. So there will be few people who would have thought of that they are going to be fit for their first job. Now they have to rethink that in the scenario which is going to be after this the pandemic goes and the things get normal, they have to acquire some knowledge, some domain specific specializations like Professor Shivendra was talking about. And this is going to be a very different kind of a scenario for them because they have not yet thought of those kind of things. So in NU, what we are doing is not only preparing our students with the things which we can foresee, but then we want to make them uh, learn to learn. Like they should be ready for learning every time. We will try our best to give them a degree which definitely gets them the first job, and at the same time, if they are uh, you know uh, they are just going ahead with us, we will make them understand what can happen in the future, where they should be ready to learn new things. They should actually get that particular basic platform basis of learning with us, so that they keep learning. And to be very honest, thinking about like for example, if a student learns only the theoretical aspect of a thing and doesn't know how to apply it in a real scenario, will never be able to do it when he goes to the job. So this is what we try to give him in the campus itself. And for me, management degree should make him a person who's not only job ready for the industry, but should also be very well mindful, very much mindful of the sustainability, the environment, and obviously the world needs the business leaders who can think about everything, not only society, not only the country, but the world. So our focus is to make a student, a person who can think about everything altogether, and he or she is a holistic personality in all. This is what, for me, management degree should provide a student.
Thank you so much, Professor Sushil. So I'd just like to again remind the audience that whilst we have taken a lot of questions from you in advance, we'll be happy to take on additional questions. You can put them on the chat window on your right-hand side, and I'll put them in the script as we go along. We have, just so that you get a 360 degree of what NIT University represents, we also have two of our existing students, along with the two professors of management and Professor Agarwal. So I will request the students to join us and interact with our audience as we put the questions to them. So without spending any further time, I'd like to dive into the questions right away, because we have quite a few of them that have come in, and I'd request my speakers to kindly start addressing those. My only request is if you could keep your answers a little brief so that we could take in as many questions as possible. So the first question comes to us from Amit Banerjee in the audience, who is wanting to know what to expect from the IMBA program. How can class 12 student cope up with it? So may I request one of the professors to take it, maybe with additional points from some of the students?
Okay, so I'll take that question.
Okay.
So that's a good question. Class 12 and the doubts are very profound, always there in one's mind as to how will I cope up with the rigor of the program. Uh, so first of all, I would give the comfort that we have our two present students along with us here who can talk about it. But before we hand over to them, I'll give you a little summary about what this program entails and how difficult actually it is. Uh, to begin with, this is a IMBA program, which means that students from non-maths background, people from commerce background, people from biology, maths background, it's open to all, which means that the program is unbiased. It can, anyone who is willing to learn and to put in a little effort, it will be like a breeze. That is point one. I'm not for one saying that it's easy. All I'm saying here, it's worth it. So the point is that we create one level playing field for all. So management, as you know, is a kind of a melting broth in which all sciences, all streams merge. A little bit of commerce, a little bit of maths, a little bit of social sciences, a little bit of commerce, everything merges together. So it's a melting broth. So here we say that it really doesn't matter. You are from maths. If you are from maths background, you will get a little edge only in maths courses. If you are from commerce, you get a little edge in accounting courses. If you are from other streams, you get respective edges. But overall, in sum total of it, you are all equal. The only difference which creates is your hard work in these 4 years. So my one line response to you is that you put in your best foot forward, you put in all your efforts in this program. We have designed this program in the best possible manner. And what we can assure you that if you do what we are asking you to do beautifully, then what we can assure you is a glorious future when it comes as a graduate from this program. It is not difficult, provided step by step you are with us. So like they say that great things are not achieved in a jiffy. Great things are achieved by small steps that you and I take. So every single day of these 4 years, you put in your effort, and it will be like a breeze over in 4 years, and you will enjoy every moment of your 4 years stay at NU. And the proof of putting lies in seating. So we have two students with us who can share the experience.
Sure, that will be wonderful. We have Monica and we have Aditya. Welcome, both of you, to the session. It's lovely seeing you here.
Good evening to all. So I am Aditya Naik. I'm from Bombay, and I'm currently in my second year of Integrated MBA. And I would like to say two things about my experience overall. Firstly, as Dr. Sharendra Mathur said, that it is not easy, but then yes, it is worth it if you put your hard work. So I would like to say that I am personally from a science background, being in the maths field. So I used to have a very hard time coping up with the finance related subjects. But then towards the end, because you have a very good mentorship practices, so you have a good rapport with the mentors because they're always with you, they guide you throughout the time, and you get to spend a lot of time with them. So it's like the mentorship practice is in such a way that they'll help you cope up with each and every subject. So even till my fourth semester, which is going on right now, we have things like case study analysis, role plays, business models, or business simulations. So this is something which gives you a very practical and a hands-on experience as a manager to be, because this is something which is very required, and this is something that the industry or the companies that demand from the students. So this sort of experience I am very delightful to have in such a university at this NU. So this is what I would like to say about this.
Thank you so much, Aditya. I have a question, in fact, which is coming from Prayash in the audience, who is very interested to know what are the kind of companies that students can expect to work in after the degree in management. So, maybe I could request one of the professors to take this question.
Okay, so see as Professor Agarwal in the opening speech said that there are a lot of companies which are paneled with us who extend support in terms of the industry practice or internship and final placements. And this list is ever expanding. So the question which is asked is a right question, but the response to it is that as we grow, the companies they keep on adding to the list. And the kind of companies, I would say, I would not take the names, rather the areas of work. So if you are talking about companies, you should expect and you should aspire, in fact, to join the best of the companies in the world. That's the reason for saying so, is that when you are equipped with the necessary skill sets, when you're equipped with the right kind of tools, you're equipped with the right kind of attitude, you are equipped with the right kind of aptitude to do the work. It's a very high statement to make that to find a job is difficult, but to find right kind of people by a corporate is more difficult. So when you are equipped and you are talented and you are confident about yourself, the companies will be coming to you, not the vice versa. So one should not worry about what kind of company. You should worry about what kind of profile, what kind of career I wish to aspire for. If you want to make a career in, say, analytics, I would say that the best of the companies are available. Analytics is one area which crosses all the boundaries. You can, from aviation to healthcare to core consulting companies, everyone needs analysts. So, as an analytical expert or a professional, you can join any of the sectors of your choice. When it comes to digital marketing, the same is the situation. All the companies require digital marketing experts. So, it's it's a world open to you. Don't restrict yourself to say that only Google and McKinsey of the world are my companies which I aspire to. That is not the appropriate one. You should aspire for a right career option at an appropriate place. You may be working for one of the finest company, but as a very mundane job that is of no sense to anybody. Rather, in a growth company where you are at in a position where you are a decision maker, where you do the work which you like to do, that is more important.
Thank you, Dr. Shivendra. And whilst I know for a fact that all the prominent organizations partner with NIT University, whether it is for the industry practice or whether it is for full-time placements, but just for the curiosity of our eager students in the audience, if you could give us the top few names and that are your regular partners for both the industry practice and the placements for management program, just a few names, top of your mind.
Sure. So our as on date, as we are talking, around 1166 students have graduated from the university in management area alone. And these students, all of them are placed in the companies. If you're asking names, I can tell you ICICI Bank, WNS Limited, NTL, the various banks, public sector, private sector included, Fortis. So there are, a lot of names which are there. And as I said, that there's no restriction on the companies. In fact, we are selective when it comes to company. If you look at any website, you will get an entire list of companies listed out there. But from the management area, the maximum students who have joined in these companies, I'm telling you, and the students, all of them till now, we have a 100% record, which will remain so for the years, I guess, where every student gets more than one offer to go for.
That's very encouraging. So I have Sarthak Shinde in the audience who wants to know what is the entrance test based on?
So the entrance for this is I think Monisha, you are the will be better to answer it, but to give you a just quick summary of it, it's a we take a test in terms of to ascertain your likings and our fitments. So that is a multi-stage test that is taken. More details, I would request Monisha you to please respond to it.
So, Sarthak, we assess you on a holistic personality and your academic achievements mixed together. We give you an opportunity to express yourself not only academically, but also through an interaction with some of our faculty to express yourself not only on the domain and the subjects that you may have studied at school level, but also on what you're aspiring to get into. Further details you will be able to get through the website. However, this entrance test is scheduled so that you can be assessed holistically as an overall personality and not just for the academic skills that you're representing. Thank you. So I have a lot of questions actually in the audience that have come to me with a specific flavor of what is the percentage of mathematics which is used? Is it basic mathematics? Is it mathematics at a higher level? And also, is it going to be, is it important for me to have mathematics in class 11th and 12th if I want to get into the integrated MBA program? I'd like one of the professors with some additional points from the existing students as well, if they could share their experiences, please.
So maybe I'll take this and
Sure.
will request Professor Shivendra to add to what I'm saying. See,
Sure.
at the beginning, Professor Shivendra just mentioned that we are, we had this idea of offering integrated MBA program, and that too is open for all the students. And see, there is no edge, over others in terms of whatever they have done till their class 12. Because when it comes to this integrated MBA program, in the beginning itself, we have few days we spend on building the foundation where few basic courses like mathematics or the commerce in terms of accounting, basic accounting, and the business management side. We offer those things, and to go back to the that I think core of the intent behind this question, that it doesn't really matter the person comes from a science background or a mathematical background or a commerce background, because what we have seen is obviously when they come to in the beginning of the program itself, we try to expose them to all the things which are going to be helpful to build the knowledge, in terms of how to become a good business manager. And to me, again, when it comes to me, it is like very few common subjects, few subjects will be there where a person who has the mathematics background can do better. But then we have seen that even for the sake of explanation, the statistics or the quantitative techniques which we offer, we have seen people across the streams do, even I'll not say the mathematic background, a person from mathematic background has done better, or a commerce background person has done better. It is like maybe their understanding from the level where we actually bring them to, and from where we start delivering them, the knowledge in such a way that everybody goes together, builds together, and learns the concept. And second is, it cannot be that a person who is from mathematics background or the commerce background cannot learn management or commerce. So I don't know, people have somewhere people say that management is more related to commerce, but I would say this is not so, because people from various streams have become good business leaders. And it is all about understanding the business and the issues related to how to build a business. And when I explain my students, maybe Aditya is there and Monica is also there, we say that you don't have to be in a hurry to decide where exactly you want to go, that too in a kind of business management, or you want to choose a certain area from the management side. It is like you have to first learn all the things, which are, you know, commonly taught. You take your time, you learn the things, and then maybe at a level you yourself will be in a position to decide what exactly is the specialization you want to go for. And to me, maybe for a very, very, few courses, it can be advantage. It can, it can be, a good thing that you have had mathematics in 12th class, but it is not compulsory, to be very honest, because to learn the business and the management, it is okay that you come from even liberal arts, you come from the commerce background and any other background. So this is why what my answer is. Maybe Professor Shivendra, if you want to add, and then maybe our student can
Sure,
also. Yeah.
sure. We also have Professor Agarwal, I think, who wants to add to this.
Yeah.
Professor Agarwal, I think you're on
Yep.
mute. Yeah.
Fine. I got it. Yeah. Thanks, Sushil. So I just wanted to add a few points here. I've spent over 25 plus years in management schools. And, if you go to an IIM, for example, you generally tend to notice that there are 95% people in the incoming class that are engineers, and mostly ex-IITians or whatever you want to think about them. That trend is changing. Now, if you go to the Western countries, the total number of engineers don't even make up 20-25% of management programs. So this idea that you have to be a math background student to succeed in management is completely untrue. The way math programs or the concept of math is introduced into management is dealt with very differently. It is more on practical applications. It's leveraging tools, simple tools such as Excel, and then building on them and using MATLAB and certain packages that you need to know. So don't get confused with this math background issue. Most good business schools are built around a very diverse incoming class. Okay, so just to say what Sushil was saying in a much more concise way, I don't see why math is a hindrance, or I think it's a non-issue, right? Now, if you're going into engineering, it's a completely different ballgame. So keep that in mind. Aditya, you are smiling. Maybe you're not agreeing with me.
No, so even I'd just like to add a point to what Professor Agarwal was saying from a policy perspective as well. We welcome students from not only science, but also commerce and humanities streams to apply for the Integrated MBA program. And like I'd already mentioned, the evaluation is not just on the academics that you represent, but on your overall personality through an interaction-based assessment process. And it will be nice if we hear Aditya or Monica also talk a little bit about their experience about when they applied for admissions, and how was that experience. I think that's going to be wonderful for our audience as well to know.
Okay. Monica, go ahead. Yes.
Well, my name is Mauni. So good evening to everyone. My admission process actually is quite different because mine's ended up being a pretty late admission. So it was very packed in the beginning because within just a couple of days, I had to give my entrance exam and then wait for the results. And then I was in Hyderabad, and then I had to end up on campus within a kind of a couple of days. So it was pretty stressful, and it was very scary because there was so much of change happening in the beginning. It was happening at such a rapid pace. But when I went to university, I realized that there's such a nice support system on campus. There are both from faculty members to classmates to there's so many people who will help you through the change. You just have to trust the process and the teachers that are there, and just the system that they've built, like the community that the university has built. You just have to trust that and just allow yourself to follow that change rather than fear it. So though it was very scary at the beginning, I've learned to work with it and actually ease into it pretty easily, the entire process of going into IMBA. So it has been overall pretty good experience so far.
Aditya, you wanted to add something to this?
Yes, ma'am. With respect to Monica's story, mine is like completely opposite. If you ask me, I was there since day one. So from the HSBC boot camp, I was there. So professors like Abhishek Datta professor, then Professor Shivendra Mathur, Sushil Kalyani sir, they have been with us from our day one. And if you ask me, even I come from a science background, yet I was afraid to take up what sort of maths will come ahead in front of me, how to tackle those things. But then those very foundational days actually made me, or it made me sure that yes, it is not the whole maths which you require to, become a manager. They just say that it is, but then maybe it's a myth. But then there are more things to it, more than maths. And the experience-wise, it was completely awesome. If you ask me, I was getting carried away with all the activities, the sports. Apart from sports, the other extracurricular activities, and the main focus was yes towards the early stages, and after the early stages we did focus a lot on our business plan competition. So there was something much more happening, and it was a particularly a very delightful experience, if you ask me, right from the day one till the day I am over here. And even if I am at my home right now, because the situation is such a right thing right now, but it does not make us feel as if we are detached from the campus. We get a lot of quizzes every day from the university. We get virtual tours. We get everything from our social media platforms of an IIT university. So yes, we do feel like even if we are at a home right now, we are still a part of the university. So that is what I would like to say.
Thank you, Aditya. Now, I have at least four people in the audience. I have Ishika, I have Sanjay, I have Sonali, and I have Sony, who want to know about what are the specializations that are available at NU, and at what stage are they expected to choose these specializations. May I request one of our professors to kindly take that?
Okay, so when it comes to specializations, as I was talking about in my, answering the previous question, uh, we actually want all of our students to first reach a level of at least understanding the foundation courses, the basic courses about management, and that's where, especially, I again I'm repeating the same thing. I tell my student not to be in a hurry to decide where exactly you want to go, because unless they go through the basic courses, they'll never be able to understand the core of the management, and that's why, since this is a course where we have to deliver all the courses in 3.5 years of time, 7 semesters to be precise, and the last semester is dedicated for the industry practice. So what we do is till fifth term of their fifth semester, in fact, they'll be going through all the common subjects, which are going to be a mixture of core courses. Then there are a few activity-oriented courses, then few other courses from term semester 6 and 7. In fact, from starting from semester 6, they'll start choosing their specialization. Uh, when it comes to what kind of specializations we have thought of, we have, as Professor Shivan was talking about, that because of our linkages with industry and our interaction, we have come across that there are few specializations which were always there, but then uh, we cannot simply offer those specializations because we 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 thought they are going to be traditional one and will not fit into the scheme of the requirements, maybe of the industry. So what we have done so far is, we have one specialization which is going to be in business analytics, again depending on the choice of the students, or the understanding which the student has built up till term fifth. He'll be given the choice of going for business analytics. The other will be, there are many organizations, many institutions which are offering only finance as the specialization, but we made it very clear that it's not going to be only finance. It's going to be finance, banking, and fintech, because when I was listening to Professor Shivendra, that how the finance industry is going to, or it's already going under this kind of turmoil, and it is going to change a lot. So fintech is going to play a very special role, and that's why we have included fintech. Then obviously the traditional marketing days have already gone, so we have to think about the digital and social media marketing and marketing analytics. So that's going to be the third one. And there is one more specialization, which is entrepreneurship. These are the four specializations which we are focusing. It is again depending on our students. Even when I say that they have kind of started thinking that they want to go for a specialization in analytics, or a mixture of, or a good mix of blend of courses from finance and marketing both. So we are going to give them that particular option as well. It's going to be a very good blend of all the specialization courses, which are going to ultimately give them, at least those skills which are going to be required when they go out of the university.
Great. May I request either Monica or Aditya, or both of you actually, if you can keep your answers brief, to please add to this and tell our students as to how difficult is it to begin with an integrated program right after class 12? Does it take you a lot of time to cope up, to get out of the school mode into a course which is compact and so robust as an integrated program?
Okay. So if you ask me, till my 12th, of course, I was completely the school things, the school mode to be precise. And when I came, so it was like coming out of a shell. So it was in the very beginning stages, a hostel life was a bit different experience for me, to be honest. But then you get blend into the university, you get blend into the academics. And when coming to the very education part, something which stands out is that when you were back into 12th, it was like a class of 50, 60 students. So maybe even the professor would not even know that you are in the class. So there was no one-to-one communication or one-to-one recognition. But over here, what I think is that even as one professor would know all the students one-to-one in a very personal way, in a very professional way. So this is what stands out. And yes, there were some subjects that were facing a lot of difficulties in the very beginning stage. Say, for example, the maths issue, which we've been talking about. But even that, it eases off with time. And it's just a thought in your head that, yes, I am going to face this difficulty, but then you yourself have to get this thought out of your mind, because you yourself can tackle that. And yes, learning never stops. So there is one thing that I would like to say, that each and every course is just completely interconnected, even with the specializations that are being offered to us. And yes, towards the end of the day, everything is worth it.
Great.
Monica
Thank you
would
so
like to
much.
say.
Thank you.
From my experience, academically speaking, I would say it won't be the biggest challenge because I actually did have a bit of a business background. But it's the fact that you have to balance out your personal changes, such as suddenly, like how Aditya said, you come out of a shell, you become very independent, you have a lot of freedom. So we have to figure out how to balance out our studies and our normal other co-curricular activities and just our thought process. We'll be going through so much change. So the experience was at first will be a little bit daunting at this whole IMBA subject, but then later on, as Aditya said, you kind of ease into it. You figure out, you find your rhythm, you figure out how things work, you find out how to balance things out, and you stop being so terrified of seeing some new changes or new subjects, even though at first you might feel it. So academically and your personal life, that balance, as long as you have that willingness to figure things out or the curiosity to learn, and as Shivan, the mother Sarah said earlier about hard work, if you have all these components, things will go smoothly.
That's so lovely to hear from you, Monica. And let me tell you, both of you are looking and behaving most responsibly and most confident. And I'm sure it's an inspiration for everybody in the audience to see the two of you speak so confidently. And I'm sure they can see themselves there in the next 1 or 2 years. So I have a question from Shekhar in the audience, which is around the residential facility at NU, and is it mandatory? And I'd like to take that question, Shekhar. So yes, NIT University by design is a fully residential university, and the intent why it was designed like this was to be able to create a very vibrant ecosystem for learning, which would function 24 by 7. Students stay on campus. There aren't any day scholars, and most of our faculty, teaching staff also stay on the campus or very, very close to it. And this creates a very interactive environment. Students get to work on research projects with their faculty, finish their classes, get into sports, pursue a lot of activities besides classroom as well, which they can't when they choose a college where they have to commute on a daily basis. So this saves them on a commute, and they focus their energies inside the classroom, indulge in research, pick up an extracurricular activity, indulge in sports, and also some club activities. And the intention is to be able to focus on grooming them physically, mentally, and creating a holistic overall personality. So I hope that answers your question, Shekhar. I have time for just one more last question, after which I'll come for closing remarks to Professor Agarwal. And this is a question that's come to me from 2-3 people in the audience. Keval, Sakshi, Sanjay. Why should we look at an integrated MBA, and is it more difficult to do? So I think it is on the flavor of something that we've discussed, but if I could just have some closing remarks briefly by Professor Shivendra and Professor Sushil on this, it would really help as to why an integrated MBA program, and why should we choose that as compared to a BBA perhaps.
So the reply to it in a very crisp manner is as follows. When you go for an integrated MBA program like the one which we are offering, the biggest advantage you get is to, when you get into these specializations which are sought after and will be the future, you just cannot complete these specializations in 2 years span of time in a regular MBA program. To give you simply, for example, if you want to learn analytics, you need to learn AI and you need to learn machine learning. And you take one step back, you want to learn machine learning. For that, you need to learn predictive modeling. For that, you need to learn a little bit of stochastic, a little bit of business statistics. All these backward integrations are just not possible in a 2 year span of time. So we debated heavily when we designed this program, and that's how we decided to have a 4 year program, because only then you do justice, and then you're able to equip the students with the right kind of skill sets which are actually required. Because management education for all these years have been alleged and accused of creating just graduates who are not employable by the industry. And we have decided to break these shackles and break this myth by creating industry ready people. So when the students from this university graduate, they are from first year productive, first star productive. So that makes all the difference. That's a short crisp reply to it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Linda. So quick closing remark, and I'd like to move to Professor Agarwal, please, for your closing remarks, sir. And we realized during this session about how quickly, the world around us is changing, and the new generation, how it must continue to adapt to these changes in order to continue to remain relevant. And as head of institution, what's your view on this?
All right. Can I be heard? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you, Manisha. So, what's my view on the world? I've been actually in a webinar with the AICTE chairman yesterday, with the chairman of the UGC today, and I can tell you that three things are coming out very clearly. Technology is going to become the cornerstone of learning and teaching in the very near future. I mean, there is no escaping it. Okay, number one. Number two, both students, faculty, and institutions will have to adapt rather quickly to this changing situation. And I don't think this is, COVID has just fastened the process, okay? This thing was happening slowly, but now it's moving at a pace which is unbelievable. And the third thing is that knowledge or industry requirements are changing much, much faster than what our syllabuses can be updated with. So all this points towards making sure that our students go out 4 years from now, ready, as Shivendra said, to be productive on day one, hour one. And one way to ensure that is that all our students who come out of NU spend their last semester at an industry in the real world where it's a mutual assessment. The student is assessing the industry is assessing the student, and they are getting the real world skills. Okay, so, and whatever you may say, analytics is the future of management. Okay, analytics is going to drive everything. And our strengths in technology-based courses, computer science-based courses, our faculty's expertise in analytics is only going to make you, I mean, supply chain is analytics, right? Marketing is analytics. HR is analytics. Whatever you may think is analytics. I'm just using analytics as an example. So data-driven decision-making is going to be the concept of management education and management requirements. So that's the only way we can bridge this divide. And that's our focus. And that's my take as the head of the institution of where I want to see NU go as being a role model in the digital transformation of learning and digital transformation of delivering the material to the students, and the students being that curious student that comes in, that is always looking for and hungry for knowledge and finding solutions, constructing solutions. So that's in a nutshell. Again, the digital transformation of learning is what NU is all about. And creating that student who is part of that journey is what NU is all about.
Thank you very much, Professor Agarwal. And I'd like to thank all the speakers. I'd like to thank Dr. Shivendra, Dr. Sushil Kalyani, and of course, our two very, very confident young students, our best representatives, Aditya and Monica, for taking out time for this session. A big thanks to the audience. I hope we were able to answer all your queries. In case something remains unresolved, the regional admission teams will be more than happy to take them on and also redirect them to any of the speakers in today's session. We hope your queries get resolved on time, and we're eager to have you join us very soon, and all the very best. Thank you very much. Good evening to everybody.